disclaimer, the reason why I don't talk about my books is because I know myself and I know that I will start to ramble and then spoil something that I say in the middle of 4 things and I can't edit it out. So that's kind of why I try to avoid talking about a lot of the books that I review, because I will spoil something. And I would love to do a clean review and then a spoilery review, and I'm gonna figure out how to do that. I just need more time and a better script, and I just looked cute and I wanted to talk about my books. Hi, hello, welcome or welcome back. My name is Layla. I'm the creator behind Heartsick Hooks, and today we're gonna be talking about my January and February reading wrap up and my March and April hopefuls. One of my best friends used the term hopefuls instead of TBR, and I like that way more because I have a pretty extensive TBR, not just physical, but also I have the tendency to go into Barnes & Noble and just take pictures and then add it to my Goodreads TBR. And so now that TBR is sitting at 268 books. Love that for me. I know that that's not healthy nor normal. So, but even with that number being so big, it still hasn't stopped me from adding more to it. So we're gonna start getting through that. My goal for 2025 is to read 50 books, and I'm falling behind. So we need to catch up. We need to catch up and wrap up. And that's probably because I just lost 2 weeks to People We Meet on Vacation by Emily Henry, and I decided to stop reading it yesterday because it was not speaking to me anymore. I think I burnt myself out, and also we'll talk about that later. We'll talk about that in a bit. But today we're gonna wrap up all the books I read in January and February, and then talk about some of the books I want to read. I have my little stack here, and I have Legendborn sitting behind it. We're gonna talk about some of the books that I really want to read in March and April. I'm so excited. So the first book I read this year is This Is Me Letting You Go by Heidi Priebe. I rated it 3.5, and I have the paperback version. I don't even like saying paperback because it's so teeny. It's very teeny tiny. It's a self-help nonfiction, and it's literally only 120 pages. I rated this a 3.5 because it's really a collection of flowery prose, of short essays, documenting grief and loss throughout a breakup. I wouldn't even say grief and loss, just kind of the thoughts that you have while you're going through a breakup and how you feel about the other person. It's very Tumblr-esque. If you grew up on Tumblr like I did, it is nothing new, but it helped. I annotated it a little bit. I literally finished it in like a night. It's not that crazy. I think you would like it if you are post-breakup, like if you've just broken up with someone or you're starting the healing process when you're coming out of the call me back please. I think you should read it before you text your ex. That would be helpful. It did not stop me. I just don't really remember it that much. If you're in an unfulfilling relationship, it might stick with you more. If you're with someone where you're like, I don't really feel seen by this person, just a very topical, very shallow, like boyfriend-girlfriend relationship, I think it would stick with you a bit more. But there are some people who absolutely loved it. There's some people who absolutely hated it. The Goodreads is very barren. I think there's only like a very small amount of reviews, which shocked me. The second and third books that I read this year was The Naturals and Killer Instinct, and I rated it 2 out of 5 and 3 out of 5 stars. I hated it. The reason why the sequel got 3 out of 5 and the first one got 2 out of 5 is because everything I complained about in the first book got kind of fixed by the third book. So that's it. I had to stay true to my word. I was like, if they fixed this, I'd give it a higher rating, and they fixed it, so I had to give it a higher rating. I read them both on my Kindle, so I do not know the accurate page count, and it's mystery and YA and heavy on the YA. If you enjoy, I think in my notes, I wrote it down as mid-2010s, Not Like Other Girls meets X-Men, but no cool powers. I thought they were gonna have superpowers. They did not have superpowers. Very irritating. Love triangle, very Wattpad-esque. If you grew up on Wattpad, this book will do nothing for you except constantly flick you in the forehead. Like, do you remember when you read stuff like this for fun? Do you remember when you enjoyed things like this? If you're looking for nostalgia bait, this book may be for you. I was not looking for nostalgia bait. I had to read this because it was my book club. We were supposed to read all 4 books. I only read 2 because I could not subject myself to that anymore. Speaking to the members of my book club who did finish it, nothing really changed. It was the same shit, just different book. The main character is, I don't want to say she's insufferable, but she has an intense case of both pick-me-ism and what-about-me-ism, and because she's the main character, the plot revolves around her anyways. She's very, I don't want to say insufferable, but if you also dislike Elena from the Vampire Diaries, you will dislike the main character of this book, and I will leave it there. And now I finally get to talk about the books that I actually want to talk about, the books that I actually enjoyed in January and February. The third and fourth books that I read this year, and I'm so excited to talk about them, is The Serpent and the Wings of Night and The Ashes and the Star-Cursed King. I have to look off to say those because the amount of times I have tried to record myself talking about that, and I butcher the names. They're so long. I adored these books. I gave them a 4 out of 5 and a 5 out of 5. And I have them both on paperback. They're 504 and 618 pages, and they are a romantasy. If you do not like romantasy, you will not like this series. If you do like romantasy, you will like this series. And that's how I'm going to start my review and kind of blanket it. Because for those who are trying to get into romantasy, you know, you really want to start dipping your toes in, I think that this is a great series. The world building is easy to follow, and it's very cut and dry. There's definitely some romantasy series where you'll get 300 pages in, and then they'll be like, oh, and by the way, this too. And you're like, where did that come from? Why is that just now coming? Do I have to take notes? There have been so many romantasy books, fantasy books in general, where I feel like I should be taking notes the whole time. I do that with mystery books. It's actually very helpful. But I adored this book. I'm excited for the fourth. The fourth book comes out in September, and I'm so pumped to get my hands on it. I summarized the first book by saying that it is vampire Hunger Games, but also there's an aspect of like royalty involved as well, which really, it's still vampire Hunger Games, but it just adds something. It just adds something into the pot. Oh, you like vampires? Do you like when royalty's involved? Oh, do you like the Hunger Games? Come here. Come sit down. Come read this book. I loved the world building. I loved the setup, and I really enjoyed the characters. There's a lot of times where I hate the male character because he's so stuck up, or I hate the female main character because I'm like, girl, get your head out of your ass. And there were definitely moments where I felt like we were kind of character bending a little bit just to move the plot along, but also at the same time, I never felt like it was too aggressive. And I'm really only saying that because I tried to read once I read a book and I rate it 5 stars, I immediately go and read the 1-star reviews to kind of be like, am I being inflated about this? And honestly, now that it's been like a month since I finished book 2, I would change it from a 5-star to a 4-star, but I read for the experience, and the experience made me feel good. The experience made me feel like it was 5 stars. So she's a 5-star book. My aunt has the first one, I have the sequel, and sometimes I look at her and I'm like, I love you. Because she's huge. She's 600 pages. I think that you would like this book if you are, like I said, dipping your toes into romantasy and you want to kind of start trying it out. And I would also say the average reader would enjoy this book. It's not that hard to understand. You don't have to make a serious commitment. It's a duology. I love me a good duology. Technically, it's a duology of each. Okay, let's get into this. So in the world, there's 3 different kinds of species of vampire. There's Nightborn, Shadowborn, and Bloodborn. There are 3 duologies on each 3 of the vampires. So book 1 and book 2 are about, I believe it's the Nightborn. And then we're starting into book 3 from one of the side characters, and she's a Shadowborn. Yes. And I believe that obviously book 5 and book 6 you'll be led into the Bloodborn, and it's very exciting, and I'm so excited to get my little grubby paws on them. I do believe that this is a good book series. I adore it. I would love to talk about it more, but it's not going to like knock your socks off. We'll leave it at that. The last book that I read in February was Book Lovers by Emily Henry. It is my second Emily Henry book, and I love her. I would die for her. Anybody who doesn't like Emily Henry just doesn't get it. They don't get love. They don't get romance. And I will also say that if you have not read Beach Read, I have the special edition of Beach Read. If you have not read Beach Read and Book Lovers and you hate Emily Henry, I would recommend reading them. You're only saying that because those are the only 2 Emily Henry books you've read. Yes, but also, I have been reading People We Meet on Vacation, and I cannot give less about these